Hello everyone, today I'm gonna show you the easiest way you can beat Chapter 4 regardless of game mode, using only 5 basic towers, with a 6th one being completely optional. Also there's a 50% extra tokens now, you might want to take advantage of that because look at these rewards right here, they look pretty juicy. Anyways, we're gonna select Nightmare mode and we're gonna begin. So you need these 5 towers here. Commander is optional, but he does help you speed this whole thing up. So how you want to start this off is that you want to place down 12 golden rangers on the walls, and you're going to want to do it by having one of them next to each side of the turrets, which are now functional, by the way. Thank you, Atrazine, you're the goat as always. Once you have them spread out like this, you're gonna want to put a golden ranger in between each of them. And now you're gonna want to upgrade every single golden ranger one by one to 2-2. Otherwise, like in a failed run of mine, you're gonna find yourself completely overwhelmed. And yeah, trust me, you don't want that. You're gonna get deceived really easily by the enemy layout. And one last thing, before all the skips begin, I am not exactly feeling good right now, so I won't be talking for too much. Therefore, this video will have a lot of time skips and time lapses, where I just speed up between the steps, and then I come back in order to keep explaining the next steps. So yeah, I'll see you guys when we upgrade all these golden rangers. Once all of your golden rangers are at levels 2-2, what you're gonna want to do is zoom out, flip your map around so that this flaming crater here is to the top left, and you're gonna want to place down bottom path EDJ right around here. Oh, damn it, the prompt is getting in the way. Okay, that's annoying. But yeah, you're gonna want the bottom path EDJ right around here, and you're gonna want to max it out so that you can get yourself discounts and range buffs for later. With this DJ maxed out, you can now begin upgrading all of these golden rangers to levels 2-5 one by one. And when I say one by one, I don't mean like how I did it before. I mean that everybody is getting equally upgraded. We're going one upgrade by one upgrade by one upgrade per each golden ranger, so that we can keep an equal DPS on all sides of the base. You're gonna get attacked from absolutely every angle here, since this is a circle after all. So the only way to make sure that you stay safe is to have the same amount of DPS on all sides of the base. Therefore, this is the best way to upgrade all of your golden rangers to max level on bottom path here. Once you have all of your golden rangers on max level bottom path, you're gonna want to place down 4 more EDJs, roughly in these corner areas. Once again, you might have to zoom in order to avoid the annoying fix prompt. Again, that's something that still can get in the way, but not if you zoom in. This is approximately how you want to have them spaced out. And now what you're gonna want to do is upgrade every single one of these EDJs to top path, because you're gonna need to micro the Encore ability. And by having an EDJ at each corner of the base, you can ensure that the ability stacks properly. There's no particular order or method in which you need to place down and max out these EDJs, so this is just how I did it right here. Now what we want to do is, once everything looks safe enough with these things going around, we're gonna want to place 4 medics at underneath each turret, kinda like so. And after placing down said medics, we want to upgrade them to levels 4-2 respectively. This is to ensure for later that our towers do not die horrible deaths. And now that we have all of these medics down, all that we have to do until wave 5 is to start placing down top path with golden rangers. You want to do it equally on both sides, as to both keep the DPS consistent, but also to keep the medics safe. because they are going to start getting attacked, and even though they can heal themselves as they're in large groups, you do not want them to get overwhelmed. Otherwise, they will die, and then you will definitely die. Okay, with, hold on, I just placed down a medic here, my bad. Once you have all of your medics protected by a top half Golden Ranger, you're just gonna want to spread them out equally. Like, the way I do it is that I first put down a Golden Ranger on one side, then I max him out, and then when I'm done here, I go to the opposite side and do the same thing, and you repeat this for literally every single side of the base, mirroring your placement everywhere so that you can keep your DPS not only very high, but also very consistent. And you are going to want to use Encore as often as you can, since the damage buffs that you get are definitely something that you will need. Especially since you are going to encounter enemies with lots of resistances later. On wave 3, in case you have Commander, you're gonna want to put down 3 of them inside of the base. This is completely optional, however the damage buffs that you get from the Commander are incredibly helpful. And, not to mention the fact that they also get another range buff, which essentially makes a Golden Ranger cover like half the map, which, let's face it, that's very useful. You can also summon APCs if you want to, but the problem is that the summoning is incredibly randomized, so it's not always gonna go in the direction you want it to go. I should also mention the fact that no tower inside of the base's walls can get hurt, because everybody will prioritize targeting the base. Also, speaking of damaging the base, here come our first official bosses, which are the Dreadnoughts returning. Something really helpful for this wave in particular is to have at least one bottom path Grenadier down in order to bait certain attacks. Or if you feel like Ravager is getting a little too close for comfort, you can start baiting him with Grenadiers, even though it's quite expensive. Now, this is the moment where you want to really start using your abilities, because Ravager's Flamethrower is absolutely merciless. And that's gonna start being a bit of a problem down the line if you value your towers. However, the occasional bait, combined with, oh crap, some of our medics died, you are gonna want to replace towers as fast as you possibly can where they die. We were fortunate that only towers on this side of the base died, because that makes it really easy to replace them later. Now, Striker is a problem for a completely different reason, and that is that he can directly damage your base. Even though he doesn't exactly manage to kill your towers properly, he can deal a lot of damage against your base, which in the long run is problematic. Alright, the Dreadnoughts have been dealt with, now there's just the Seraphs approaching, but your bottom half Golden Ranger should be able to deal with them. And you're going to want to focus on fixing your base as much as you possibly can. You do want to keep your base above 30,000 HP if you want to be in a safe zone. At least that's what I think. You can play a little riskier here if you want to. I don't think it affects your strategy so long as you don't go below 10,000. The Wall Pusher is honestly one of the coolest enemies yet, because the shield actually makes sense here. You burst the shield, he starts running, and... Also, at this point, you are gonna want to put down a couple of bottom path Grenadiers in certain areas, those being in front of the turret around here. And then also one over here. Oh look, we got a Wendigo. Because these guys can not only stun the Wendigos, but they also serve as baits because they virtually can't die. Because of the constant oh, whoops, I completely forgot about the other Wendigos. It's time to apply some of those damage buffs. So long as you don't forget about buffing your troops, you should have absolutely no problem dealing with these guys. And don't forget about the Grenadiers, they become incredibly important later. You're gonna want to put 4 of them right in front of the turrets, kind of around here-ish. And then 4 more in between each of the already existing grenadiers. Right out. Oops, that one got shot by a tank. Just gotta deal with those tanks real quick. These grenadiers, they're gonna be super helpful with all of their stuns. Oops, gotta move this guy a little lower so that he's more in between. Yep, there we go, now he serves more as a bait, which is kind of his purpose since he can't die, but he also baits bosses into attacking it. See, the tanks are shooting the grenadiers, but because of those medics from earlier, they can't die. So the tank is held back while the Golden Ranger deals with it, since it can ignore laser resistance, which the tank has plenty of. There's also the Grumbles, which you're gonna want to pay attention to, and also which the Grenadier does an excellent job at dealing with due to the stun. Oh whoops, we're getting overwhelmed by Dread Knights, gotta use those buffs. Oh, now we're getting overwhelmed by tanks, gotta use more buffs. Wendigos, gotta use even more of those buffs. Whoops, we got a tank rush. Hopefully you've still been placing down Golden Rangers by now, because they're gonna become invaluable assets in case this wasn't obvious enough already. And remember, in the unlikely case that your Grenadiers die to regular enemies, you still have to replace them as fast as possible. They might not seem like they're doing a lot, but they're actually doing the Lord's work. Okay, this wave is by far the most hectic out of the event, and if you can survive it, then you should have no problem with the final wave, because we've got a bunch of Predators approaching us, which should be no problem to deal with, since Golden Ranger has proved in the past that it is quite undefeatable in the base game, so this should mean absolutely nothing to him, especially if you apply the buffs I mentioned earlier. Remember to also keep placing more and more Golden Rangers, as I mentioned before again. Oh, and when the Corrupted Predators arrive, it should be exactly the same thing, except they're even further away, so you should really have no problem dealing with them. Although you have to delete any tower that they corrupt, since you don't want all of that DPS turned against you. Alright, that does it nicely for the Corrupted Regular Predators, but now we've got Corrupted Apex Predator. At this point your turret should turn on and begin targeting him. Do not take this as an excuse to relax, you still have to be on your toes, because this guy is incredibly vicious. The Maze Guardian would be a big problem for you if you didn't have those Grenadiers, but assuming that you have them, it should really be no problem for you to deal with all of these guys. Do keep paying attention for whatever towers get corrupted, since those can easily shred your lines if you're not aware of them. You're gonna want to micro your abilities as heavily as you can during this wave, since you gotta take advantage of every extra drop of DPS that you can get your hands on. You can also feel free to use the Golden Ranger's grenades in order to stun him, in order to slow down his approach towards your base. It can be helpful when he is close. More towers have been corrupted, gotta get rid of them. Do not delete corrupted medics though, because all they do is just heal your things more, if I'm pretty sure, which is shouldn't be something that bothers you, if I'm being perfectly honest. Or if they don't heal your stuff, then yeah, that could be a bit of a problem. At one point, Apex will get close enough to your tower so that he starts running them over. They'll obviously not survive, so you have to replace them quickly once he walks away from that area. This is especially considerable with your Grenadiers, since he is already stampeded over mine. We're gonna worry about them later, since right now Golden Rangers are a little more important to deal with. Oh yeah, he's entering our inner power ring now, he's gonna start killing a lot of our stuff. But it shouldn't be a problem, because he's basically dead at this point. Just to encore your DJs a little more, and he goes down. Oh, he summoned something right before he died. That's petty. Once he's dead, max out your medics. Yeah, just do it. Trust me. And after you've maxed out your medic, replace your dead Grenadiers, and then start spamming bottom path Railgunners. By this wave, you should have stopped spamming Golden Rangers, since you should have enough of them. However, you do have to fill in the gaps that were killed off by Apex. Like, you don't want to place down new layers of Golden Rangers, you want to fix the old ones. And now that I think that they're fixed, I just have to keep focusing on spamming bottom path Railgunners. The Railgunner is your best hope of taking down the final boss. Well, I've reached tower limit. I guess that I just put down way too many golden rangers. But it is fine, because once your golden rangers start dying off, you just have to focus more on putting down railgunners, as they're your main source of damage from this point onwards. Also, with all of these top half medics around, you shouldn't worry about anything dying. Like, literally everything in the outer layers should be completely safe. Or it just doesn't take enough damage to die properly. Uh-oh, we got corrupted golden juggernauts incoming. These guys might be a bit of a problem if you don't pay attention to them, but as long as you apply the correct buffs to your troops, they shouldn't be the worst. You're gonna want to start using your commanders a lot more once the Wretch arrives. There's the Wretched, or Spider Sans as I like to call him, I still think it's a better name. By this point, it's really just down to microing your abilities as well as you can, as well as replacing any railgunner that gets killed, because this guy can one-shot literally everything. Like, don't even bother thinking that your towers can tank the damage. They won't, even with the medics help. So you just have to focus on replacing your towers as fast as possible, and ensuring that your grenadiers remain alive. Because there's gonna be Wendigos ambushing you, and you don't want them getting too close. The Grenadier is your only hope of keeping them away. And if you feel like it, you can delete some of your Golden Rangers and replace them with Railgunners. Although this is only in case you feel like your damage doesn't suffice. Which in my case, yeah, I don't think it suffices. I need more decisive damage against this guy. And as always, do not forget about microing your abilities. You need those damage buffs, especially during this wave. Alright, he's entering phase 2, which is gonna be not that big of an issue if I'm to be honest. But he will start diving closer into your circle of towers, which means that your railgunners are not gonna appreciate it, and neither are your golden rangers. You can try using your grenades on him, but I'm not sure if they're even that effective, since his movement type is a little bit different from what you'd be used to. Although it shouldn't be too much of a problem, like at this point he's even more in the crosshairs of your towers, so you literally just have to chase him with railgunners, like right behind him. Just keep spamming more and more of them. It is a problem when he digs himself underground, because you never really know where he's gonna pop up and absolutely destroy whatever is over there. Since, like I said, you've gotta keep an eye on your defenses. You don't want a Wendigo or a Maze Runner to sneak past them. Make sure that the outer layer of your base is absolutely covered in railgunners, because that way the medics can both keep them alive, and you've essentially created yourself an extra wall through which the enemies cannot pass through. And there we go, with just a little bit more effort, you will be able to kill the Wretch, no matter the game mode. And that should be it. The Wretch is literally the only problem during this wave. Once he's gone, his minions are just gonna waste away. And there you go. This is the easiest and the most consistent way to beat Chapter 4 regardless of difficulty. Arguably one of the best grinding methods in the event as of now, and you can literally pull it up just with the right amount of microing and troop deployment. In case you're curious how to insta-upgrade your towers, I will link the tutorial in the description, as it's especially helpful during this game mode. Don't worry if you don't have Commander, he just makes things a little faster, but you should be able to do just fine without him. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, and have fun grinding. Bye-bye! Yeah.